All right. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Lions Talk Live, and man, oh man, we got a show for you guys today. Woo! Let me tell you about it. We got some guy named Kurt Steele, the infamous one. He's going to join us and come on in, talk to us about the Detroit Lions, and maybe even today's thumbnail a little bit about Adam Guest, or excuse me, gosh, I can't even remember the guy's name. About Adam Rank, excuse me. Talking about the NFL, giving his predictions yesterday, breaking him down, and I will give the guy credit. He does a real detailed set on each team. So if you want, go over to the NFL's YouTube page, check it out. He'll go through everybody's season schedule, each game, give you his thoughts and their final record, etc., etc. But as you can probably tell from the thumbnail for this video, he's got the Chicago Bears winning the NFC North and the Detroit Lions coming in second. He also has the Bears knocking the Packers out of the playoffs last week in the regular season. Goes on to say this game means nothing to the Bears other than one thing. They're going to look over at Green Bay and say, you're not getting into the dance. So we're going to dive on into that. We're going to talk about Kurt Steele, some of his thoughts, some things and news he's got coming up, by the way. All that will be revealed today. But as you guys know, if you're not new to the show, a couple things real quick before we get into the meat of the video. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 6,800 subs, and we're about 50 away. Also, if you take a moment of time out of your day, hit that thumbs up button, surely would be appreciated. We try to get each video to 200, say 300 likes, thumbs up, whatever you want to say. So try to help out if you can. Last but never least, if you haven't yet known, I am a realtor outside of being a YouTuber and a coach and a scout. So if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the bottom of the screen in the scroller, 269-998-2384. Give me a call and let's see what we can do to save you some money, make the process a whole lot easier. And you know what? Maybe even find you that ideal piece of vacant land, that commercial property for your new business. Maybe you're just looking for a new home. Whatever it is, you get the gist. Give me a call, shoot me a text, and let's go ahead and get into that. But before we get into the meat of the video, there's one last thing we got to do, and that's our segment for 5 headlines now. So real quick, let's get into that. Actually, kind of like that music, just on a side note. All right, real quick. CBS releases its 2024 fantasy football prep, which includes a number of Detroit Lions. So if you're into fantasy football, I've never done it in my life. I get the gist of it, but I just never had time with it since it falls during typically the season. I'm usually either busy reporting or coaching, or maybe even both. So, if you want some inside information or at least some thoughts from CBS, head on over. You'll be able to find it there and check it out. Maybe you get some new intel that helps you with your draft or league teams, etc. All right, ESPN's Seth Warden thinks the Lions had a, quote, bottom 10 off season. And he is pretty detailed with it. He goes on, talks about how he thinks they overpaid for Jared Goff. The problem I have with a lot of reporters, if they keep throwing out the number for his total salary, to me that shows that this person didn't do a lot of research or any research, which is a shame for any kind of reporter or journalist, that he still says that Goff's getting paid $53 million a year. I think anybody watching this understands he's not at $53 million. It's actually closer nowadays to about 44 and change. So when you look at all the metrics of it, and there's potential that thing could go even lower if Brad Holmes in the front office decides to use some of the Lions' available cap space and chip away at his contract or somebody else's contract. All right, we reported this earlier in the week, but we talked about how Sam Laporta was at tight end university, but now the Lions have up to 3 tight ends apparently there this week. So good for the Lions. Good that they got those guys invited. But Lions are showing some real strong development in the tight end position. That should come over to the product on the field. Here's another one for you. Vegas bets Bates to win Detroit's kicking war break NFL record. So let that sink in. There's already lines, and those of you who bet know more about this jazz than I do. They're saying Jake Bates is going to end up being the Detroit Lions kicker. I'd say most of us wouldn't be shocked by that, and it's no disrespect to Michael Badgley. the Lions brought in Jake Bates for a reason. You know, are they both fairly similar when it comes to accuracy? Yes. Do I think Badgley is slightly more so? Yes. But one thing Badgley doesn't have is that leg, and that's where Jake Bates just he stands out from every dude in the NFL in that regards. There might be one other guy in the league that has any kind of leg remotely as strong as his, and that's one. So that also means there's 30 other dudes who do not have his leg. All right, and then unfortunately, former Detroit Lions Isaiah Buggs has details emerge. So in case you're unaware, it is being alleged that Isaiah Buggs broke into his ex-girlfriend's or wife's house with a crowbar and dragged her apparently down some stairs, even outside by her hair. And again, these are alleged allegations. Do not take them as, the gospel or anything like that, or the 10 Commandments. It's what's being alleged and accused, but everybody gets their day in court. Wait and see what happens. What we can say, unfortunately, for Isaiah Buggs is that there does seem to be further cooperation why the Detroit Lions moved on from him a year ago. I know I did my reporting on it. I know I did my talking about, hey, the guy likes to, party all night and every day. And then obviously didn't sit well with Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, etc. I reported that from people I know within the Lions journalistic community, or I should say Detroit media community, that apparently there was even a heated exchange in the cafeteria room, basically between Aaron Glenn and Isaiah Buggs. And, just the more that we find out details about some of his offseason stuff, the more that I know some people threw some stones at my windshield over some of those reports, but it does seem like it's being cooperated more and more. All right, those are your 5 headlines now. So now it is time to get on to the main part of the show. So let's get into it. You know what? I even got something new for you guys. Keep trying to add on the channel. All right, so as you guys know, the lead for this video, the thumbnail or whatever, the Bears, Adam ranks, breaks down the Bears to win the NFC North. So let's go over that real quick before we start getting into the comments section, just trying to give you guys a little bit more detailed information pertaining all of this. So let me get everything scrolled down too. All right, let's start off with the Bears. He's got them at a 12-5 record, sweeps Detroit, keeps Packers from the playoffs. Last game of the regular season, he points out that the Packers, they win, they get in. Chicago has nothing to get out of that game, in his opinion. They've already secured the North. They already secured a playoff spot. So their only thing that the Bears are playing for in that game is to keep the Packers out, and they do just that. All right, let's see. His ranks prediction for the Minnesota Vikings is 7-10 record. Last in the NFC North, that is. Splits with Lions, Packers, and Bears. So they have some abilities. It's just not enough ability to really be a contender in the North. All right, he picks Detroit at 10-7, second place in the North, makes the playoffs, splits with Minnesota. The Packers swept by Chicago. And let's see, I guess I didn't put Green Bay's up here, but Green Bay ended up, I can tell you, finished with a 10-7 record, but lost the tiebreaker to the Detroit Lions. Basically, the last game of the regular season that they got gets the Lions in and the Packers out. So those are Rank's thoughts. And then I want to, let's see if I can real quick here show you what he had for the Detroit Lions. There we go. All right. So put that up on the screen. And that is what he's got for, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Hold on here. All right. There we go. All right. So that's the record he's got for the Detroit Lions in the game-by-game breakdown. Winning against Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. Winning against Tampa Bay. This is the one I kind of really was like, wow, really? Losing to the Arizona Cardinals. And he does admit that in his mind, it's just something here, the gut feeling. He doesn't really think the Cardinals are a better team than Detroit Lions. But he does go on to say, hey, he thinks the Cardinals will pull it off. Seattle Seahawks, the Lions finally get a win against. Then they get the bye. And he does also agree the bye seems dang early for the Detroit Lions this year. And I know we've all talked about this for a while, but it is what it is, where the NFL put us. We come out of the bye, though, and we beat the Dallas Cowboys. So maybe that's one of the advantages of it. I have us beating Minnesota in that game after the Dallas Cowboys. He has us losing. He then has us winning against the Tennessee Titans, losing at Green Bay, then losing at the Texans. And I would say this, I could see both of those happening. I'm hoping, obviously, the Lions split there. Man, but if they could win them both, good for us. Coming home, winning against the Jacksonville Jaguars and then the Indianapolis Colts before losing to the Chicago Bears, winning against Green Bay, winning against the Buffalo Bills, losing against the Chicago Bears in Chicago, losing against the 49ers before ending the season with a much-needed win against the Minnesota Vikings. So there you go. That's what we got there. Let's go ahead and get back over to you guys. Let's see what you guys got now. Duke Crew, what do you think? Hey, what do you think of that new little intro for the main topic of the day? Maybe I need to word a little bit differently, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right, Duke Crew, what you got? I'm scrolling on, let's getting it up here. Hey, Moonscar Blade, good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew, exclamation point. Adam Rank is a Bears homer. I would agree. He just looks at skill positions and puts nothing in putting all aspects together. Correct. I think we're on the same page there, Moonscar. And by the way, good belated birthday to you. Enjoy your birthday week. Lions fan number one, good morning, Duke Crew. There is no chance we don't win the North. Williams will tank the Bears season. Obviously, Rank must have an opinion that Caleb Williams is going to be more C.J. Stroud than the 99% of NFL rookie quarterbacks. And maybe he will be. I'm giving you guys my opinions as a USC fan and somebody who's watched him for a few years. I think he's going to have some struggles until he learns to come off the first primary read a ton. But, we'll see. Maybe he will supersede expectations. Broski Bears got to be loving this, though. Mike the Marine Gunny. Howdy, Dan and Do family. Destroyed the division. Woo, woo! And I agree. Yeah, go out and get it to win it. Never gets old. All right, Detroit D, greetings, salutations, everyone. Back at you, D. Hopefully you have an outstanding morning, my friend. All right, Frank the Tank, good morning, all, and woo, go Lions. I agree, Frank, and hopefully you are having a great one. Robert, greetings, salutations, back at you. Frank the Tank, all that fuzzy Bears got to be happy as hell right now. There's no way the Bears will win the North. Go Lions. It's going to be interesting to see how everybody reacts to this. And I get, if you're a Bears fan, you're jumping up and down, you're loving it. But also think about this. If you're a Green Bay Packers fan and this guy's saying you ain't even making the playoffs, I guess I would want to know why. Did Jordan Love really regress that much? The defense, I think, has enough in Green Bay to still be a very good unit for a while. The offense, young overall last year, did show signs of growth. The North, though, I don't care who you're a fan of, what this does probably corroborate, and we'll have to see during the season, is that the NFC North, I really feel like, will be the toughest division in all of football next year. That's my opinion. Maybe we'll be ultimately proven wrong, but I do believe the North is going to be a dogfight. I don't think anybody's going to go undefeated through it. Maybe I'm wrong, but all right. Steve Rogers, greetings, salutations. I'm reporting that ranks last in my book of predictions. Fair enough. Yes, he is not your lead source on where to go to get the inside information on the upcoming season. Got it. All right, Detroit D. The only way that happens is we have a total collapse and Williams plays out of his mind all year. That's kind of where I'm going with that. I get the people say that we've got like the 10th or 11th or whatever it is, toughest record in the NFL. I would say wait and see. Every year you're going by, when you do these early season rankings of records and strength of schedule and all that stuff, that's going by last year's results. But as probably anybody who's watching this show, who's watched the NFL for a significant amount of time or any kind of amount of time, man, teams rise and fall so fast in the NFL. I personally think the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers are going to have a little bit of a pullback this year. I could be totally wrong. It doesn't mean they're going to be like 500 or not make the playoffs, but I just don't think they're going to be as strong as they were a season ago. I do think the Packers, it all comes down to Jordan Love. I think he got exposed a little bit the later the season went on when he started talking about playoffs or whatever, even though, did some real good things. I think the 49ers exposed, what he can't yet do. Now, maybe he'll fix some of that this offseason. To your point also, though, D, Williams is the big unknown. I've given you guys my thoughts on him. I get we're all homers. We're all, Lions fans. But just trying to be as neutral as I can be, I think he's got some real strengths and some real weaknesses, and I'm just not sure how fast those weaknesses can kind of level out with the strengths. So we'll see. Brent, good morning, everyone. The Bears are finishing third or fourth in the division. Oh, yeah. And that's probably more where I would think. I would say I could see a real case where the Chicago Bears, if they manage Williams correctly, could challenge for like you're saying, third, maybe even second. I still believe the Packers are the biggest threat to us, but we'll wait and see what happens during the season. It could totally happen where the Bears, win this thing. I mean, anything's possible. That's what makes the NFL, unlike most other sports, is really on a week-to-week basis, anybody can win. All right, Frank think we will sweep the Bears, and the Bears would be lucky, win 7 games. Go Lions. I was kind of thinking somewhere around there. Like I would predict the Bears to win 6 to, I don't know, man, 6 to 8 games, somewhere in that range, and probably most of them towards the middle to latter part of the season. So I think we're on the same page there, Frank. Detroit, let's see, Detroit D, their skilled positions aren't better than ours. No, I would agree with that. And I get, if you're a Bears fan, you're going to disagree with it. You're going to say your guys are all Hall of Famers. And, this defensive line is the greatest since the 85 Bears, whatever. I mean, that's part of being a fan, right? Caleb Williams is probably going to throw 47 touchdowns on the first drive of his career. That's what fans do. I just think, the Bears do have some real strengths. I just have a real big worry about that offensive line for them. And again, Caleb Williams. And to me, that's a bad situation. If you guys remember David Carr back in the day, I actually thought he was a good quarterback coming out. And I remember ESPN did, after his rookie year, like a video for the upcoming NFL draft, and they photoshopped all the offensive line for the Texans out of the picture. So what does your team need in the NFL draft? And, you got the gist that David Carr, his rookie year, got destroyed by sacks. I want to say he got something like 70 sacks 70 times. And what that does to a psyche of a young quarterback, especially if you're getting hit that often. And that's my big fear for Caleb Williams. All right, Robert Yankee, the Bears really have a mountain to climb with a rookie quarterback. Maybe a Mountain Dew to climb. And Broski, as a fan, I wish nothing but heartache. Yes, 100%. Yes. Hope he stumbles, fumbles, and can't even rumble every time he takes a snap. Quentin, greetings, salutations, y'all. This dude is cray-cray if he think we ain't winning the division this season. I would say the line, I'm going to guess most people who aren't fans of the North or don't have any kind of emotional investment are going to pick the Lions to win it. And then it will come down to, yes, who's going to be second place. But let's be fair, the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings to a lesser degree, and the Chicago Bears all have opportunities or chances to win games this season. How many? That would be the question. Frank, think no way, no rookie quarterback will win this division. Go Lions. I would agree with that. To me, rank misses out on the fact the Lions, I think this year are going to have a pretty dang good defense. The Green Bay Packers have a very good defense. The Minnesota Vikings, I mean, they've gotten older on the defensive side of the ball. They still have some weapons, though, especially on the offensive side. I think they're going to be able to do some good things. JJ, is he going to start this year? Is he going to start any games this year? Whatever happens, I hope he throws the ball better than he did in the first pitch yesterday. I don't know if you guys got to see that, but wow. That pitch wasn't even close. But, nerves happen sometimes or whatever. Plus, you're doing something that isn't your sport. Yeah, things happen. Robert, the Lions have as close a complete team as I have seen. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, this team is incredibly complete across the board. If we can avoid major injuries, we should go to the Superdome. Yes, it'll be Superdome or bust for this team. I think by all expectations, if the Lions go out and win 12 games to make the NFC title game again and lose, I guess most fans would live with it. It would be heartbreaking for sure. But this team is, as you point out, Robert, it would be hard to remember a team in the NFL that, at least at this point, by Detroit Lions standards, just really doesn't appear to have any weaknesses. And they're so dang young with a ton of money. What they've done to construct this team, Brad Holmes, Chris Steele and Sheila Hamp and all that, to be able to put this young a team out there with 0 holes seemingly on the roster and have $40 million left over in cap, that's just dang impressive. Brent, I was a little surprised that they kept their coach after last season. I was too. To be very frank and honest, I was too. But they did have a little bit of a stronger finish this season. I just thought with a rookie quarterback coming in, you probably want to bring in somebody that's you've got faith that is going to be able to develop that quarterback. And maybe they feel he can, but boy, with what they did with Justin Fields, I was just surprised they kept him. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys! Exclamation point. First of all, a rookie quarterback won't beat this defense. AG will have so many different looks this season. Williams may have about 20 picks. I think the Lions destroy the Bears. I would say NFL history typically supports what you're saying there, Stephanie. You go back, and I don't care if it's Peyton Manning or whoever at quarterback, the vast majority of rookie quarterbacks who start throughout their rookie season do not take care of the ball well, just because, again, the pre and post snap changes the defenses are just off the charts. And you can say this, that, and the other thing to support. The one thing the Bears have done is they have put some pretty decent skilled position players around him. That may end up helping. But again, because the North's overall defenses are so strong, I think Williams is probably going to, I don't know if he'll throw 20 picks, but I could see it being around that. And there may not seem like a big difference between 10 and 20, but every time you throw a pick, you're taking potential points away from your offense and putting more pressure on that D. I'm going to go with this for Williams, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. I think he's going to throw between 17 and 23 picks this season. So somebody write that down, and we'll Scooby-Doo it at the end of the season, see how close I was to that. All right, Frank the Tank, been hearing a lot from Green Bay fans, been hearing a lot from Chicago and Minnesota fans. I don't know, it's time for us Detroit fans to start slapping back and let's go Lions, 100% fans. I think, when you're at the top, you don't have to talk as much. Usually when people are running their mouths saying this, that, and the other thing, that's more of a sign that they're chasing you and afraid of you. And to be fair, everybody in the league should be afraid of the Detroit Lions. Can they run the ball? Yes. Do they have good skill position players? Yes. Do they have consistent play out of the quarterback? I would say at this point in his career, unless you're just wanting to have a narrative against Goff, whether you're looking at him in LA or Detroit, he is very consistent. So yes, you have that. And now, do you have the ability to rush the passer? It seems like that's emerging to Detroit, and we're all thinking, at least on paper, that secondary is really grown. So I think you're right, Frank. The Lions have grown and developed exponentially. All right, Stephanie, second thought, the Pistons are a dumpster fire. Hey, getting paid $65 million to sit at home, I'll take that job. Sign me up. Robert, yes, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Clark, great. Good morning, you wild and crazy kids. At Stephanie Wilder. I think Williams may lead the NFL in interceptions this year. It is possible. Since they've already named him as the starter, unless he gets injured, he's probably going to play, throughout the season. He's going to have some real opportunities and part of the growth curve. I mean, I'm not going to wish him ill will, except the 2 times he plays the Lions a year. But let's also be fair. It's tough to be a quarterback in the NFL. All right, Big Eddie Green, salutations, everyone. I almost could live with a prediction because he says the Packers won't make the playoffs. Yes, you could live with the Lions being second if the Packers don't make it at all. All right, you're taking one for the team there. All right, Hookadoo, good morning, Coach and Kurt and the gentlemen of the Dew crew. There we go. I got you on the crew there, Hookadoo. Just say Kate, good morning, Hookadoo. Jesse, what do you got? Good morning, all. Lions got this. I'm not scared of Caleb Williams and the Bears coach. No, I would say, yeah, you're probably spot on with that. It could end up being a great matchup for the Detroit Lions. As much as we blitz, if Williams isn't careful with the ball, he could throw a few picks against the Lions. And that's ultimately where I think things are going to go. Okay, not a chance in the world Bears win the division. Grittin', woo! There we go. Robert, the Lions should totally dominate many teams. Our coaching, our talent on offense and defense, we will continue to control our opponents. I agree. I think as good as we were last year, I think there's, and not trying to be a homer here, but because of the rise of the defense, I think there's a real good chance. You guys heard me give predictions. I want to say it was like a month ago on Micro Maker. Maybe it was on here. I don't remember when Dan O'Donis came on. But I could see us scoring into the 30s, maybe even the low 40s some games, just because the amount of turnovers I think we're going to be able to generate. Brent, Lombardi or bust? Oh, yeah. I'll go with all the above. Franz, what do you got? Good evening, all. Williams is a bust. You know, there are some people that are speculating, but wait and see. I don't wish it on them, but wait and see. Hookadoo, good morning. Just say K. All right. Robert, Jason Berry, Superdome or bust. I agreed with that, and thank you for that. Robert, a towel and Tree of Destiny will help our efforts. You know, hey, we got to get an update to see when the Tree of Destiny, maybe we can get Jason to do a live stream of the putting up of the Tree of Destiny to kick off the season. And the Towel of Fate will Destiny, whatever it is, will make an appearance towards the start of the season. Robert, quarterbacks, wither and die in Chicago. Yes, they do. Let's be honest, it's not the best place to be a throwing quarterback out there. See, is that so you? Good soggy morning, everyone. 100%. Brent, all the weapons the Bears have doesn't matter if your quarterback is a one read and run guy. Yeah, and I know I've talked about it before, but that's my biggest worry with Caleb Williams is so much of his success at USC came out of, and I'm just going to Scooby-Doo this real quick. Your first read's over here. Your backside is here. The read gets stuffed over here. You're taking off the backside there. And against a lot of teams in college, that backside bandit or robber or whatever just isn't the most athletic guy in the world, not when it comes to agility or lateral quickness. And that's just where Caleb Williams, to be completely honest, he is cat-like in that he is nimble, he's shifty, he can move around, and he would just destroy people. And so on that backside, he'd just get around and improvise, either take off for yards or be able to buy time for the first read or somebody else to break free and come across, and that's where you'd hit him. And, you know, it's highlight real stuff, 100%. But the NFL, that backside person is probably more than capable of keeping up with you. Maybe not on every team or in every formation, but in a lot of them, and that's where I worry Caleb Williams would get hit a lot, especially. And, you know, those hits take a cumulative toll. Remember, Andrew Luck looks so great, very similar to Williams in many regards, until he got to a couple seasons in, or even his rookie season, and just those hits add up. Anthony Richardson last year, dude is super athletic, but the guys hitting you typically are fast, coming downhill, and got a lot of pounds on you. All right, let's see. Matthew Green, citations. Good morning, everyone. Superdome, Super Bowl, woo! All the above, and good morning to you too. Bo, good morning, Dooku. Rank selections aside, I see Super Bowl. Woo! And yes, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you're living, dreaming about the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be more than a dream this year. Motown, Green, salutations. Coach Dooku, Lions rule, Bears drool. I like the way you're thinking, Motown Mitch. Dennis, good morning, fam, and Dan, and Mr. Steele. Yes, Steele should be on here in, I'd say about 2-3 minutes or so, roughly thereabouts. Miles Margaret, hello, coach and crew. Lions bring the targets of haters equals Lions are top dogs and to be feared. I like that. Woo! Yes, I like it when other people are chasing us, for sure. Patrick, Adam Rank must be one great drug to come up with that. I'll go with that, and I'll allow it. Good job there, Patrick. Phil, greetings, citations, back at you. Motown Mitch, my main man, the man of steel himself, Kurt Steele. Yes, here in just a couple minutes here. Don, Adam Rank has been saying the same stuff for years. Absolute delusional as they get. Well, yeah, let's prove him to be delusional. Don, skip the Bears. We will be skipping the Bears 100%. Motown, Don, man, you can't expect everyone to have brainsicles. I'll go with that. Dennis, let's see, Bears win the division. You're smoking crack on Michigan Ave. Could be a strong correlation. I'll just go with that. Joseph, good morning. Hello, Kurt. Yes, Kurt here in about 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Rocky, what do you got? Good morning, all. Now this will turn this show into Bears Talk Live and only want to hear about the Lions. Not some team in the rookie quarterback doesn't even want to be there. I wonder how much disgruntledness we'll get out of him over time. Rocky, what do you got? Who is this Adams anyways talking about fake news? He's someone who works for the NFL. You can check out their YouTube page, or excuse me, YouTube channel, etc. CJ, Dan. Well, how you doing today, CJ? Hopefully very well. All right, Michael, great salutations, Coach Duke Cruz, Super Bowl bust, one pride. Woo, woo! All right, we'll go with that. And you know what? It's about that time to bring on the 17-time World's Heavyweight Champion. Kurt, how you doing this morning?
What up, dude? What's going on, man? I'm doing good. What's going on, dude? Crew, man. It's good to talk to you guys. Interesting topic today from the homers of all homers on NFL Network. Yeah.
All right, so I don't know how much of it you caught this morning, Kurt, but obviously you know about the thumbnail. Adam Rank comes out and says, hey, Chicago Bears are winning this thing as far as the NFC North. Do you think there's any possibility Caleb Williams? I know you and I have talked about on this show and then with Micro Mike and stuff. Do you think there's any possibility Caleb Williams really can be the savior of the Bears this season?
No. I mean, they're expecting him to be the CJ Stroud of Chicago. He's just not that player. If you look at Caleb Williams, I'm not saying he's not talented, but he has his issues, and we talked about this. Like, especially with progression, read progressions. The offense he played in at USC was very tailored. It was kind of one read and done. So, and if he wasn't making that read, he was taking off and running. But Adam Rank, to be honest with you, Adam Rank picked the Bears to win last year. Adam Rank is a homer. He's a Bears fan. I mean, he is. I mean, even Cynthia Freeland. Cynthia Freeland is a diehard Detroit Lions fan over there on NFL Network, but she's balanced with her coverage. She doesn't, get too high. She, of course, picks them at times. She doesn't get too high. She doesn't get too low. She's honest with her assessment of what the Lions are going to do during the season. She doesn't pick them every week. You know what I'm saying? She picks with her head instead of her heart. Right. So, I mean, Adam Rank picks with his heart. The guy just really looks at what the Bears are going to do, and he's all in every. Now, as a fan of a team, I get it, I understand it, but if you're a journalist, and if you are a sports member of the sports media, right, you have to be fair and balanced. I won't pick the Detroit Lions to win every game this year because I just don't think it's realistic. They're not going to go 17-0. Would I hope they would? Yeah, absolutely. But to just be I mean, he picked them to beat the Lions every game, every year. He picks them to sweep the Lions. He's picked them to sweep the division every year. And Rank can just I don't understand. I mean, you have to be fair and impartial and objective when you're covering your team in the media. Just because you want them to do good, don't mean you should pick them to do good if they're not. That Chicago's a talented team. Their defense is way eons past their offense.
Right.
And I still don't think they did enough on the offensive line to win the NFC North this year. I just don't think, though.
Right. So here's a question for you. Who's the bigger homer, Adam Ranks or Mike Florio?
Ooh. I have to go Rank. I think Adam Rank is the bigger of the homer, because at least Florio will, he will kind of dump on the Vikings if he needs to. Adam Rank, he's just going to pick the Bears to win everything every year. And I mean, it's like having, and I love him. That's my guy, Maniac Team over there. Former, he was the founder of Lions on the Prowl over there with the late Jim Bordeaux. But yeah, he's just like, oh man, 12, man, the Bears are going to win it all. I'm like, man, sit down.
Right. So let's talk about Caleb Williams, since we're, basically the Bears' success or failures are going to go through him. If you had to guess what kind of stats would be your anticipation for him as a rookie quarterback, he's already been named the starter. He should, unless there's an injury, play every game this season, try to develop him as much as possible. If you're a Bears fan, what are your honest expectations for him?
I think he probably throws around 3,000 yards, a little over, maybe probably 15 touchdowns, probably about 18, 19 interceptions.
Okay, yeah. We're on about the same page there, because I'm thinking between 17 and 23 interceptions, and I didn't even worry about the touchdowns, so you're ahead of me on that one. All right. So with that being said, if you had to rank the NFC North, Ranks gives his thoughts. He thinks Lions are going to finish second. Bears are going to knock the Packers out of the possibility of being in the playoffs, and the Vikings will finish with about 7 wins. Give your win totals, your guesswork, or whatever for the NFC North.
All right, Lions. I think a repeat 12-5. Packers probably around 10-7, 11-6. Close. And then Bears 7-10, if that. And you look at the Vikings bringing up the rear. I probably around a 7-10 as well. Around that same 6-11, 7-10 wins. Both the Bears and the Vikings have the same issue. It's just not as prominent because they putting all this onus on Caleb Williams. They have quarterback issues on both of those rosters. I don't think Caleb Williams is not going to come in and light the league up. I just don't see it. And for all the arm talent he has definite holes in his game. I mean, he does. Now, one thing I will tell you that, and we both talked about this before, is that one thing he can do, he can use his legs. I don't think Lincoln Riley didn't have him do that as much at USC as he did at Oklahoma. But if you look at his Oklahoma tape, man, he ran a lot at Oklahoma.
He did.
So, and he has the capability to do that. But I just don't see him coming in and lighting the league up. I just don't see that.
I was talking about it. I know you and I have talked about it and mentioned on the show, other shows before. If I would have been the Bears GM, I would have kept Justin Fields. Now, let me pose this to you. If you would have been the Bears GM, what would you have done with Justin Fields, and what would you have done with that number 1 overall pick?
Probably would have traded back because somebody would have wanted Caleb Williams. You stack the deck, build for the future. No team's one player away from being a champion. That one player away thing is ridiculous. But I do think that Fields had holes in his game as well. I still believe that he has issues with reading coverages as well. He doesn't get the ball out as fast as he needs to. And I hear he's already showing that out there in Steelers OTAs that they had. He had some struggles passing the ball as he normally does. He's a talented guy, has a talented arm, definitely has talented legs. But he has a problem with progressions, and he has a problem holding the ball. If it's not a perfect throw, he doesn't want to make it. So if it's not a guy wide open, he has a problem leading receivers. That, I think, is one of his biggest issues for me. Like, if a guy's not open, he doesn't have the ability to throw them open. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like Jared Goff can throw a player open. You know what I'm saying? I've seen plenty of passes to St. Brown or even to Sam Laporta where those guys aren't really that open, but he throws them open. You know what I'm saying? Gives them a step, or he lets them fight for the ball. And that's something that he wasn't known for when he was in LA. He wasn't known for tight throws in LA. He was throwing the ball down the field. People just think he had his arm is different than it was. People are just used to Stafford having that cannon. He has a good arm, but he's just not as strong as Stafford's. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If we've got a lot of young players on this team. Yesterday did a video. Was it Pete Briscoe of CBS said, "Hey, the Lions have 7 kids or guys on the team that are going to be in the top 100, and 9 if you include the honorable mentions." If you had a guess a year from now, who makes the top 100 from the Lions, and does it go up? The number go up from 7 or down?
Ooh, it possibly could go up. You look at it, right? So you're looking at a guy, Jared Goff's going to be in that top 100. He keeps continuing. I think Jahmyr Gibbs makes that. Of course, St. Brown, Penei Sewell makes that top 100. Then you go to the defensive side. I think Aiden Hutchinson makes that top 100. Depending on how he does in his rookie season, you look at a guy like Terrion Arnold. You know what I'm saying? Or Carlton Davis. Depends on how the teams try to play the Lions as far as who they try to pick on. And that's one guy you don't want to really try to test in man-to-man coverage. I mean, we've seen that before. I mean,
Right.
even the best receiver technically in our division, Jefferson in Minnesota, he said that's one of the toughest guys he's faced in the league, period, is Carlton Davis. So, I mean, he's not looking forward to that, having a matchup with that guy twice a year. And
Right.
you look at that. So, and then maybe see a DJ Reader can hit that top 100, or a guy like Lee McNeil, if he can have that jump like everyone is expecting to. And I think and I don't know, it's just one of those guys. He's just one of those guys that stands out. A special teamer, Reeves Maven can make that as a special teamer. He can make that, because you got to remember that guy was a All-Pro twice, because he got two different entities rated him a All-Pro last year. So Reeves Maven, man, that guy, man. I mean, it'd be rare, but I wouldn't mind seeing that from him if he continues his uptick in performance. We're going to have a great special teams this year, bringing back CJ Moore and having him and Reeves Maven and some of those other guys on the special teams. I think we're going to have a really good special teams unit this year.
If there's this year's rookie class, if there's somebody that you're, not that wouldn't be mainstream media like Terry and Arnold or whatever saying, hey, you're going to have a great year, who's your sleeper pick or two for a rookie that might catch us all off guard this upcoming season?
Ooh, a rookie. You talking about just in the league, period, correct? We're talking about just in the league, or
just on the Lions? Just on the
Lions. Wingo, man. You know that's my. I'm liking that guy, man.
Right.
He's to me. He's going to be. I'm not saying that he's going to have the production, but he's a poor man's Donald as far as the way he's built and the way you can use his height as leverage. You know what I'm saying? People would talk about, Aaron Donald was so short, but he used that as leverage, and he was so fast and he was strong. Even John Randall was the same way in Minnesota, where he was even James Harrison was a guy. He wasn't that tall of a defensive lineman, but those guys could use their height and speed as leverage, along with their strength as well. Excuse me, I'm tongue.
Oh, you're totally fine, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I was thinking about those guys, and then Henry Thomas. You remember him back in the day? Yeah. Just guys that, because they're more compact or shorter, whatever you want to say, it's harder for some of the bigger linemen, especially in the middle, to get down leverage on him, because they get up underneath him so much and just cause a lot of issues for the guys that can't bend typically well, especially if they're a little bit older, veterans at guard or center, where maybe the backs don't bend quite as well as they used to. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And Lee McNeil isn't that tall either. You got to look at it. Lee McNeil isn't tall, so he uses leverage as well, that height and that strength as leverage.
So one of the 5 headlines we had today is that Vegas put out some odds and basically stating that they think Jake Bates is going to win the job in Detroit. And there was even a line out there that they believe he's going to set an NFL record for longest kick this season. I mean, there's been so much hype about this dude, it seems like, for months now. What are your honest thoughts about Jake Bates?
Jake the Leg Bates. Wow. If Fip can fix his accuracy, I'm all for it. I'm all in on him. If he can fix his accuracy, because he's had some errant kicks. The long kicks wasn't their issue. The kicks that were the shorter kicks were the ones 40 and in was the issue with him. But if he wins that job, man, and he can get that, those shorter distances down the pat and have him, better outside. It only going to matter this year because most of our games are inside. But
right,
but we need to make sure he's accurate inside and outside. And get him with that 40 yards in the end. Make sure he can get him between the uprights doing those short distances.
Sports Track, I think, and don't hold me to this, but I want to say Sports Track measured, I think it was like 6 of his kicks capable of hitting from 70 yards. Do you think there's any possibility this upcoming season we get the opening kickoff, or a kickoff, I should just say, we get up to like the 35-yard line, maybe the 40-yard line, and just say, all right, go ahead and kick it. Go for that record.
I don't put it back. I don't put it past Dan Campbell, and I think he has. And Dave Phil, if he has him right, going into the season, I don't see a problem with that. I think Dan Campbell will roll with that if he says, hey, let's go out there and see what you got, kid. Show them what you why we signed you here in Detroit. I don't see that being a problem for Dan Campbell.
And to me, because I was trying to Scooby Doo this, think about it. Here's the big advantage when it comes to someone like Bates, like you're saying. If you can fix the accuracy, all that stuff, but think about a lot of the times right before half, there's 20 seconds left or whatever. You gotta go length field. Most people just take a knee, but now with the new kickoffs, I could see with someone like Bates, you're just like 20 seconds left. We get it at the 30. We only really got to get about 10 yards to get this kid into some sort of chance to hit this thing. That's a massive weapon, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely. And you look at the 64-yarder. It had some distance. That wasn't just right over the crossbar. It went through, and it had some yards. He had some yards left on that kick. So, yeah, I'm looking at that guy, man. That's a weapon. I mean, and it was to the detriment of James Turner. I like James Turner. I'm a Michigan guy, but when they signed basically that contract, I'm like, yeah, somebody's got to go. They're not going to keep three kickers on that roster with that much money going out to those guys right now.
Yeah, and to be fair to Turner, I get everybody. A lot of people, I should say, they're Lions fans, wanted to keep him in house. Have three guys competing. But the other side of it is, you're Turner. You've got a lot more time to latch on with another team now. So I think they did him a solid by saying, "Hey, why don't we get you out of here? Somebody will pick you up." But all right, so let's go and talk about the defense. Obviously, last year it was not the strength of the team. If you had to list 2 or 3 things that you believe, if you're Aaron Glenn, you're focusing on to make this defense one of the top 15 or 10 in the league, what are those 3 details?
Improve pass rush. First of all, you have to get pressure on the quarterback. I'm not saying sacks. I would like to see the sack number go up, but pressure on the quarterback, especially the young guys we're playing against. This year, getting guys off there, making them throw off platform, getting, rushing their throws. A guy like Jordan Love has problems when you flush him out and he can't set. He throws errant passes, and of course, getting those 2 young guys down there in Chicago and Minnesota, getting those guys off their platform, rushing them,
Right.
and think that they can, and then that will go to my second. Improve turnovers, more interceptions, causing more fumbles. Got to get those numbers up. Have that plus in the turnover department. And the last is definitely sustain run defense, because we had a great run defense last year. I think if you sustain it, I think it's going to get better with DJ Reader. And once he gets healthy and he gets up to speed in our defense, it's going to improve. But those things, keep that sustained run defense. We were top 5 in the league last year. I think it was top 2 in the league in run defense last year. So for most of the year, actually, we were the top run defense in the league. So if you can keep that up and those things, but the first 2 were definitely issues for us last year. The pass rush was led to us giving up a lot of passing yards. You know what I'm saying? Because that of a good pass rush will make the back end of the defense perform better.
All right, so real quick before we let you get on out of here, I know you got a little bit of an announcement to make. So why don't you tell everybody about your announcement and then tell them where to find your awesome information, work, and etc.
Okay. All right. So I know you guys, if you didn't see the announcement, Boss Up, Ball Out podcast is coming on 1 July 2024. We're going to be going live. Going to be going live in the mornings, a few days a week, and we're going to have some recorded shows. And joining me on those shows, my guys are back. They will be on the recorded shows with me. That's a special announcement. My man LL Cool Torrance and Coach Mike Jones will be joining me on the recorded shows during the week. So you'll get me in the mornings, and then when you see the whole crew for recorded shows, you'll see the whole crew formerly of Detroit Lions and the Proud. Coach Mike and LL will be joining me, man. We're gonna have a little different format, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some fun, some positive but balanced coverage of the Lions. So the Ball Out podcast is coming to you on 1 July 2024. You can go over. I will have the links posted over on kurtsteele.com. So you can check that out and you can see what's going to happen. I'll post some more updates over there as well. But I talked to the guys last night and they're going to join me. We worked out a kind of a new format, but we're going to have some, you know how we do it, man. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some clowning. We're going to have some serious stuff, but we're going to have some fun covering the Lions in a little different format over there. But we're going to be bossing up and balling out over there on the YouTube channel. So you can check it out, man. It's Boss Up, Ball Out podcast. You can just put it into your into YouTube and it's going to show up, man, right there on your YouTube channel. So, and we're going to be going live on YouTube. If you don't do YouTube that often, you do Facebook, you do Instagram, you do on TikTok, X, Twitter. We're going to be live on all those platforms, man. So you can check us out wherever you get your Detroit Lions news and rumors.
Good stuff, man. Looking forward to it. So, all right. Well, thank you, Kurt Steele, the infamous one, for joining us here today. Look forward to scheduling you again and having you back on. Let me know if you need anything from me and the Do Crew, because we're out here to support you. So,
yeah, definitely going to have the Do Crew come on over and hang out with us, man. Especially Dan, you're going to come over. Coach going to come over and hang out with us, you know what I'm saying, do some live shows. And we're going to, you know, I'm going to return the favor, ask him some questions, put him on the hot seat for once at a time, for one chance, man. But thanks, guys. Thanks, Do Crew. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Have a good morning, man.
You too, man. Thanks.
All right, Duke Crew. So that was Kurt Steele. I want to thank him again for coming on the show. And let's get back to the comments section. We got about 10 minutes still to go. Don Burr, what do you got? The Lions draft board was set months before the draft. Brad Holmes doesn't react to prediction. Yeah, what people do in the North. Yeah, I agree with that. And I did see the comment from Broski Bears saying, hey, our first two picks were reactionary to what the Bears did. I disagree with that. I think he looked at the Detroit Lions last year and say, hey, this secondary, the safeties were pretty good. The corners were not. You're addressing, especially the way some of the board fell, you're addressing one of the biggest areas of need for the team. I don't think anybody in the NFC North, at least at this point, is saying, hey, we're going to formulate everything on our team to beat just this one team. And it's no disrespect to one team and the other. You're worried about the season. You're worried about your entire totality of the roster, not just one particular team. But that's my opinion, at least. All right, Broski, what you're saying really doesn't make sense, Phil. It's just not true. Fair enough. Phil, Chicago only has one decent coach. Head coach gets fired after 5 games. Yeah, and I think there's some possibility if things go north for the Bears this year, yeah, you won't see Eberflus make it throughout the entire season. Broski Bear, sounds like most Lions fans are more concerned with preseason rankings and awards instead of improving in the offseason. Yeah, but I would say this, Broski. I mean, if you look at the Lions secondary, it does seem vastly improved. Now, again, you are right. It's on paper. It isn't on the field yet, but there did seem to be a concerted effort to improve that part. The other aspect, like we're just talking about with Jake Bates, you know, it will have to wait to be seen too, like anything. I mean, you want to talk about the Bears. On paper, they're improved, but we've got to see it on the field to see if they improved. And that's true with 32 NFL teams during the offseason. Until you get out there, you just don't know 100%. But Jake Bates appears to offer just something that most teams can't. And what I was saying about just before halftime or at the end of the fourth quarter, I think he's a real weapon in those regards. If you just want to get a field goal right before half and you're you receive that kick, normally 15, 20 seconds left or whatever, a lot of teams just take knees. But with somebody that can potentially hit a 70-yard field goal and with the new kickoff rules, I mean, I won't be surprised if as that clock's going 0-0-0, you see Jake Bates get a few opportunities at 60, long 50s, maybe even a 70-yard kick. So I think the Lions have improved in that regard. You know, as far as other spots on the team, the depth across this team just seems to be very good. But again, it's on paper. All right, Don, anybody watching ball knows Detroit needed DBs? Yes, I would agree with that. Nothing to do with the Bears. Had to do deal with CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, except go offense versus Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor all year. Yes, yeah, and you could argue that if the Lions had this year's secondary last year in the NFC title game, the Lions are in the Super Bowl. And from there, who knows? You got a coin flip if they win or if they don't. Let's see. Steve, Bears fans are delusional, very much so, and Caleb is a loudmouth and calling out teams in the NFL. He's going to pay for that in start of season. Yeah, to be your point about some of his PR moves, Caleb Williams, I think guys will use that as bulletin board, locker room stuff to try to get after him. He's going to face some struggles, as all rookie quarterbacks seemingly do, or at least the vast majority of them, right? So if somebody's got an opportunity to bury him, I think there are going to be a few teams that probably get that or take that opportunity. Let's see. Phil Fields was a god in Chicago. Coaches did not know what to do with him. You know, Phil, you and I agree on this. I think Justin Fields, to me, he got better every season. That's the first thing with any player. Are they improving? Not everybody goes up in a straight line. Most kind of just trickle it up, and I thought Justin Fields did that. I do wonder if they could have used some of this year's offensive weapons in Chicago with Justin Fields and a better offensive line, if his numbers just would have looked vastly better. That being said, you do have reports out of Pittsburgh that he is struggling a little bit, but he's learning a new system, new players, etc. So some struggles probably should be anticipated. Don, sounds like Bears fans think C.J. Stroud rookie season is something that every rookie quarterback will duplicate. Not. Yeah, C.J. Stroud, what he did out there, I mean, give a lot of credit to him, the coaching staff for understanding his strengths. To me, the big test with Stroud will be this year. Now that everybody's got a full season's worth of tape on you, and more importantly, defensive coordinators have a full offseason to say, all right, here is his strengths, here is what he struggles with. We need to accentuate one of those versus the other to try to take advantage of his weaknesses. This would be a big year, in my opinion, for C.J. Stroud. But what he did last year is the stuff of legends. All right, Broski, Rocky, Bears won 7 games last season, so predicting they'd win 9 games wasn't a wild prediction. No, I mean, it is possible. And again, wait and see what happens. Phil, quarterback careers end in Chicago. Typically, yes, I would concur. Let's see, Joseph, what do you got? QBs, tough to figure, accuracy, and after that, I have no idea. Yeah, just to me, how fast somebody can maintain their composure with a 300-pound guy coming to take your head off in seconds. I mean, what you have to do before the snap. So pre-snap reads, you want to see the last-second green dot guy for the defense, the adjustments they make. What they're trying to do is confuse the quarterback. What they already know, based on a week of film study, is the tendencies. So the green dot's trying to position guys as best they can, along with Aaron Glenn, to try to get them confused. Now, post-snap, what you saw pre-snap often shifts. That is vastly different, especially from Pac-10 defensive football. Defensive football, if you guys get bored the rest of this offseason, go watch some of the games from UCLA, USC, etc., and watch those defenses. They're dog stuff. At least most of them. They're just not good. The offenses do present some problems, so let's be fair. But the defensive schemes used throughout most of that conference are just not strong at all. You watch guys run wide open, I might say 30% of the time. So that's a breakdown in a lot of different levels with the defense. And that's, to be fair, that's where Caleb Williams had a lot of success. And you already heard me talk about the first read, etc. Caleb Williams will become a real good NFL quarterback if he this season can go from read 1 to read 2. If he can do that alone, if he can get to where he reads from read 1, 2 to 3 and not just take off and run, I would anticipate probably that would happen more season 2 for him or his second year. But if he can continue to progress there, he's going to be good. The problem I have, as I've talked to you guys about, is the Bears' offensive line. Will he have enough time and be able to maintain his composure from getting hit often and often, more and more often throughout his rookie year, because he doesn't have the time to go through progressions. And most humans, you start getting slammed to the ground like that by some 300-pound dude, your eyes go from downfield to down here looking for that next hit so you can take off and run pretty quick, and then the offense is just breaking down. All right, Uncle Buzz, I would be surprised if Caleb even gets to week 12 when the Lions would get to Stafford him. There you go. And good to see you, Uncle Buzz. It's been a minute, so good to see you. Don, look at Bears defensive rankings week 1 through 10. Very average. The defense didn't show up until like the last 6 games. Playing Rick, Mullins, etc. Bad quarterbacks. Yeah, and to be fair, they caused us some problems. I gave them a lot of credit because the first time we played the Bears at the Ford Field, they did some unique things on defense. And, Broski, to give your defensive staff tons of credit for it. They found something in Ben Johnson's offense that Ben Johnson didn't have an answer for. And it really took, I think, about a month for him to figure it out. So what happened in that first Bears game caused confusion. You saw that duplicated 4 days later when the Green Bay Packers used the exact same scheme to cause some confusion for the Detroit Lions offense. Now, the good thing in both of those games is eventually later in the game, you saw the Lions have more and more success as they kind of, Scooby-Dooed it and figured it out. The game, was it against New Orleans? I want to say it was right around halftime. You saw them start shifting things up. Maybe it was the second quarter, man. I don't remember. But they started shifting things up to basically where they left both linebackers like the Bears did into drop zone coverage. Everybody else man over the top. So it caused a lot of problems for the intermediate routes, and that's where Ben Johnson likes to have most of the stuff go. It took Goff a little bit of time to get through it and read it. But once it happened, it was a lot less effective when other teams tried to mimic it later in the year. All right, a couple more here, and then it's go time for me. Phil, want Pascal to have a year. Me too, man. I think he's a real good prospect to have a breakout year. Don, they're not like us. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'll go with that. Iceman, if Bates can't kick an extra point but can make a 70-yarder, we don't need him. Yeah, and he's going to have to make the easy ones. So I'm with you there, Ice. Big Daz, I can see a game right before half. They bring him in and try to give him a chance for the record 100%. And if he can end up doing that, he'll be a massive win for Lions because you're the other team. You don't want to give the Detroit Lions the ball with under 30 seconds left because, he's going to have a shot. See, Patrick Bates has only been kicking for about a year, so he'll be fine with the kicking staff. Yeah, they're going to coach him up a ton, man. Let's see. Sir Richard, of course, Adam Rank picked Chicago to win the division. He always does. He's not an analyst, but a fan. I would agree with that big time. And good to see you, my friend. See, Phil, the Bates pickup was more a poke in the eye to Green Bay. And, you're not wrong. Another time, they kept somebody away from the Packers. Don, what do you got? Bears fans are like herpes. Once you let them in, they never go away. Well, interesting analogy, and I'll go with it. Phil, real bears stink and eat fish and berries. I'll agree with that. Mike the Marine, Chicago offensive line did get 2,399 rushing yards is misleading. Fields 657. Herbert 611. Foreman Johnson 352. Scrambling QB led team doesn't mean a good offensive line. No, it means he was running for his life. So I agree with you, Gunny. Phil, boss up, baby. There you go. Phil Times, all right. Broski Bear, Lions cornerbacks and safeties were trash last season. I would agree with the corners. Safeties, not so much. I like Iffy and Kirby. But yes, the cornerbacks were not the strength of the team by any means. Trump's Steelers are a bunch of women beating thugs. Could be a level of truth to that. All right, let's see. Don, if Lions DBs and safeties were trash, then it had to be addressed, not because what Teddy Bears did. And that's, I think, Don, you're pretty spot on. So, Broski, you got to consider that. If you're saying that area is so bad, that's also probably why the Lions look to improve it. Amy, let's see, NFL just ranked Ford Field the lowest beer price in the NFL, along with the Atlanta Falcons, $6.25 a glass. I wouldn't know. I don't drink beer, but I do drink wine, and unfortunately, I got to do that before I go into the games. So, good for people that drink beer, though. Don, Bears old line is trash. You got a bunch of backups starting. Exclamation point. Braxton Jones, Nate Davis, Ryan Bates. Yeah, not the strength of the team by any means. Phil, the Lions only played 2.5 quarters last season and made it to deep in the playoffs. Imagine the Lions are playing all 4 quarters. Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to ask Kurt Steele about what he would do to fix the third quarter woes. Hopefully, it gets done this year. So sorry I didn't get that one to you, Kurt. I'd see Phil playing. Yes. Trump, how much is a beer in the strip club? That I don't know. Broski, Lions safeties are still trash. Lions replaced their cornerbacks from last year with average at best cornerbacks and rookies. All right. Trump, no Bears. Lions are far from trash. All right. Broski, Dan, you obviously haven't studied Bustin Fields. All he does is lock into one receiver. He can't progress. He holds on the ball too long. I would agree with that part, but I think, to me, his strengths and what he can do with stuff, I just worry, broski, for you guys. I just worry that Caleb Williams may not be a significant improvement. That's just me, though. All right, see, Don, Iffy and Kirby, Joseph Trash, question mark. You sound silly. Go look up to the stats. Compare them to Eddie. Can't tackle Jackson. You replace him with senior citizen Bird, and he's horrible in Philly last year. Fair enough. All right, guys, I tried to give you a little extra time. I got to get rolling, though, and going. So, all right, I will catch you guys. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 6,800. Also, if you take just a brief moment of time, hit the thumbs up button. I surely would be appreciative. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.